Five.
Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Tonight we're without one Mr. Ash Hamilton. Starting off tonight, let's wish Ash and Chanel and Grayson. Let's send them some good wishes. They had a little bit of a tornado incident near their home today, and they do not have power. Fortunately, they still have a home, but they do not have power. So let's start off by just sending some well wishes to them, and then we'll get into it. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right. So
All
tonight
right.
we have we have you're actually going by your Facebook name tonight. I'm impressed.
I am Ricky Farrell, yes, which is, of course, not my real name. So
I
you'll
was
never
waiting.
know what my real name is.
I was waiting for like Patrick Fitzmichael or something like that tonight. I was waiting for a good one, but you're going
That's
with
a
your
good
face.
one. I'm going to try it next time.
All right, and I'll be Michael Fitzpatrick. How's that?
That'll be perfect.
So
We also have with us Samantha for the first time. Say hello.
Hi.
And then Brendan.
Brendan is going
Hello.
to be joining us tonight. He's going to be taking position on one of the movie series that we're going to talk about. Um, I think tonight, now, a few weeks back, Ricky, you and I and Ash, we kind of went through what we thought was the big three in horror. And, we did Friday the
Right.
13th, and we did Halloween, and we did Nightmare on Elm Street. And we kind of fell off the tracks about 40 minutes into the show, which is kind of what we do anyway. And the next thing
Yes,
you
it
know,
became all about music.
it became music videos and which movie had the best music video and were there music videos for this particular movie. And if there weren't, it sucked. I think I'm not gazing into a crystal ball here when I say we could have something like that happen tonight.
It might happen again.
Probably.
Yes.
So we are going to get into, um, I think, probably the next big three franchises. And if you take those first ones as the big three, these are probably that mid card three. And I'm going
Like
to say
middleweight instead of
the
heavyweight.
middleweight fighters. Let's go with um, middleweight. We got Scream, the Scream series, which, as you know, just came out with a new one this year. And we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Alien, the Alien series. And we were going to get into those pretty soon here. We're going to get into them right after we get into news because even though we don't have the production value tonight, we don't have the the news header. Florida Man does not disappoint, and
Never does.
he never does. As I say every single time we do this, my favorite cryptid, Florida Man. There is no better cryptid than Florida Man. You can argue for Bigfoot, you can argue for Nessie, Mothman, whatever. Florida Man outdoes them all. So, uh, this week's Florida Man story: young Florida man charged with animal cruelty for using a baby gator to shotgun a twisted tea. So, 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 the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has charged a Plant City minor with animal cruelty after seeing the worst kind of clout chasing video circulating on social media. The video recorded last Thursday night at a Plant City Hardee's parking lot because
Oh, at Hardy's, of course. Because why not?
because that's where you do it. That's where you shotgun twisted teas, in the Hardee's parking lot.
And not Carl's Jr., but Hardy's, right?
Right. It has to be a Hardee's, and it has to be the
It
side
does.
parking lot, not the side with the dumpster, but the other side.
The other
Drive-through
side.
side
Yes.
all the way.
Right.
Right.
So it apparently shows, this video recorded in the Hardee's parking lot shows a group of teens handling a juvenile alligator roughly. One then uses the gator's teeth to puncture a can of Arizona Twisted Tea. Then he shotguns the alcoholic beverage with the young reptile still clamped onto the aluminum can. I'm not. I shouldn't laugh
How did they
because
find out about my Friday night?
Florida teenage man does not disappoint.
No, not at all. Like, I'm trying to picture this. So the alligator had a hold of the can. There is a picture.
There is a picture, and let's go with the incredible production value that I always go with when I do this, because I don't know how to share screen, but there is the picture.
Oh my gosh, there is one. Let me see if I can share this here.
Yeah, there is the picture of him with he's actually holding the alligator, not the can, to shotgun the Twisted Tea.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
that's me and Bug's trick.
Right. Next it's going to be your Persian cat to shotgun the Arizona Twisted Tea.
I'll let you know how it goes.
The quote from the Florida Wildlife Commission is, "The lack of respect and responsibility shown toward this animal was disappointing to see." Not that there were underage drinkers in the Hardee's parking lot. That's amazing. I don't know what you just did, but that's incredible.
Here we go. Check this out.
Yeah.
Look at that. I don't even know what to say.
Like, he is not.
That's terrible.
He is not holding that can. That gator is holding the can.
That man's a legend.
That's exactly what's happening.
That is. Look at that.
Large. There we go.
It's legendary.
You can take a look.
That's a power move.
I mean, I don't even feel like that's criminal.
No. That's liberty.
Well, they hurt the alligator, so it is criminal.
Well, that's criminal, but
yeah,
that's a shame.
But so again, here we are, June in 2023, and Florida man just keeps rocking it week after week. I mean, the only thing that
I know that guy's name was Chad. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, see, they can't say his name because he's a youth.
Of course.
But if you read the entire article, what kind of gets me is that, they get mad at him about the alligator. They say that when they dropped the alligator to the ground, the alligator was visibly stunned and unable to move right away. They comment that the alligator was taken to released into a nearby retention pond so that it could try and, heal up. But they don't say anything as to whether or not the kid's getting charged for underage drinking. Because I have a feeling in Florida that's just like, whatever, kid.
Rite of passage.
So they're okay with the underage drinking, but not the animal abuse.
Right. They're perfectly fine with, teens driving into the local Hardee's parking lot and, slamming a few Twisted Teas. It's just when you use an alligator to do it, that's when we have a problem. That's when it crosses
that.
That's a state animal, Dad.
Well, it could be. I thought the state animal was Florida Trailer Park Man, but I could be wrong.
Or Bigfoot.
Or Bigfoot.
Love bugs.
Dog-sized mosquitoes.
So, I don't. So far, so let's recap this. So far, we've had Florida man that attacks his wife with pizza. Remember that one?
Right.
And then we had Florida man that attacked his wife with chicken wings.
That's crystal messed up.
Then we had Florida man that was dressed or Florida woman, was dressed as Wonder Woman and was directed
back at it.
The Publix, remember? Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, no, at Publix, yeah.
She was out in front of the Publix dressed as Wonder Woman directing traffic. And now we have
that's not that far-fetched.
We have Florida teenager using an alligator to shotgun a Twisted Tea.
That's something.
We may have peaked.
That's the Mount Rushmore. That's Mount Mount Rushmore, Florida.
You know what though? I think Florida man will. They won't. It'll come back around.
Right.
There'll be something that'll take it to the next level.
I'm a little worried though that there might be a lull in Florida man for a couple of weeks. I just don't know. All right. For all you Florida men out there, come on. We need something better
We need some more. Come on.
All right. So what do you say we dive
right.
into the topic here, and let's
Let's
start off
do
with
it.
how are you guys doing out there in Illinois right now? Everything okay where you are?
There's a lot of people without power at the moment. Yeah, big storms. So it's first we had some smoke from Canada, and then we've got storms. So the smoke is almost gone, but now it's just a matter of people getting their power back.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will happen soon, and hopefully everybody can watch on their phones or something.
Yeah. But you guys are okay. Like you, Samantha, you and Ricky, you guys are all right for right now. Safe where you are.
For right now, yep.
I'm here with him because I don't have power.
Oh, okay. How far away are you normally?
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So you guys are all kind of in that half hour.
We're in the same area. Yeah. I mean, the storm that hit today hit like the state pretty much. I mean, it was pretty much everywhere. Some places got it worse, but I know of at least one tornado that touched down, and I do know of a couple people that had some major damage to their house. So hopefully they get that repaired soon.
Well, you guys stay safe out there, and if we hear the sirens and you guys duck, we'll know what's going on. Brendan, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you excited about being on the show, talking about your favorite movies?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Sorry, just nerding a little bit.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey, when we get into the paranormal stuff, I nerd out all the time. So, and Brendan and I are both in Rochester, New York, and we just had the Canadian smoke here today. That's all we had.
Toxic smog.
You just go outside, go like this. You don't even need a cigarette. They said our air quality was something like, what was it, 175 or something like that on the AQI.
Yeah, so, I have some friends in Michigan that they have around the same, and it's been pretty bad out there too.
So the fact that we're doing
we actually had some areas here that were like they were in the 180s yesterday.
Jeez.
Before the storms hit, we actually had gotten really bad. So
well, hopefully tonight we're going to do something here on the show that takes your mind off your trouble. We'll have a little fun and let's get into it. So
let's do it.
So I'm going to take, for lack of I would love to take the aliens argument, but I'm going to take the Scream argument.
Right. So what we're talking about too, just like to go back over it one more time, is which franchise is better? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Alien franchise, or the Scream franchise?
I'll take the Scream franchise. I know, Brendan, you want Texas Chainsaw. Are you guys okay with defending Alien?
I can defend Alien, sure. Up to a certain point.
Well,
and then I have to stop defending it.
And I get it. And when you look at the Alien franchise, you really only have 2 movies that are of worth. There are several more movies for the franchise, but it's Alien and Aliens that pretty much carry that franchise.
Prometheus.
Well,
it helps carry the storyline.
Yeah, but it's not in the class. I mean, I'm going to argue against it because I have to, because I'm taking Scream. But
yeah,
I mean, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing up.
I mean, I'm going to argue against it.
I just think that you don't get movie quotes like you do from Aliens anymore. There's so many quotable lines in that movie, that just, and the cast of Aliens was just amazing. So I will give them that.
Weaver, Paul Reiser,
Bill Paxton.
Yep.
What's his name? Michael Biehn.
Yep, Michael Biehn. And then Lance Henriksen, right?
Oh, Lance Henriksen.
Yeah.
No,
it's an amazing cast.
you know, I still remember being in a theater when Lance Henriksen got ripped in half by the alien, and the couple behind me, the guy going, "Oh, I'll never eat fettuccine Alfredo again." That's all I remember from that scene is the guy behind me, like just like groaning and going, "Oh, I'll never eat fettuccine Alfredo again."
It's
That
something that I would
cracked me up
say.
so hard, you know. But like, good. I just don't think, although it's up there, I don't think there's enough in the Aliens franchise to, you know, to really go past those two. Alien 3 was a horrible concept.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which one that was.
That was the one where they
I
were
think
all
I forgot.
the monks. They were all monks on like some prison planet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't even
That's
know
the
there was
thing.
an
Like,
Aliens 3.
I can remember Alien and Aliens, and then after that, it's all just this blur of like, you know, Sigourney Weaver having an alien baby that's half human hybrid and stuff like that. That's about all I remember.
Right.
And some weird man baby in Prometheus.
And I think, you know, not to chuck Texas Chainsaw under the bus for that too, but there's really the depth in Texas Chainsaw is in the remakes. It's in the remake of the movie. It's not necessarily in, you know, is there a 2 or a 3? Because there is, right, Bren? There's a 2 and
there are.
Yeah. Yes, 2 and 3. 2 is more of a comedy. 3 is back to horror, and then they did like Leatherface, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Rise of Leatherface, and then the new Leatherface.
So you know, there is the, you know, the additional movies. I just think that, you know, it is where the franchise gets the staying power from is definitely in the reissue, the remake.
Yeah, I think
2 is the family, right?
Yeah, I don't think
that the
so.
one?
I think it's
Is
just
that
Texas
2?
Chainsaw Massacre 2. I think they go on like a road trip.
Is that, which is the one where they where like the family's kind of introduced on a more like prominent level?
I think that's number 3.
I thought that was Leatherface.
Was that 3? This is sad. None of us remember.
Well, it's because we got put on the spot.
I thought 3 was the one with Renee Zellweger and what's his name? That neither one of them like to talk about. Is that 3 or 4 with Dennis Hopper?
I'm looking it up right now.
So for me, I've seen first and the second, and then the third one I just never really.
The one that you were thinking about, Steve, Ricky, was Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah.
And that one is with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, that's the one.
Is
that 4?
It's 1995, and they're the only 2 people in the movie that you've ever heard of before.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gentleman by the name of Robert.
No, it is 2 that I'm thinking of. 2 is the one I'm thinking of because the family's a little more involved in 2. It's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It was in '86.
Dennis Hopper.
And that's the one where you have like Grandpa and like Bill Moseley's in it. Dennis Hopper's in that one.
Yes. Okay. Now I remember that one. Yes, that is the one where
you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I think they did do it in the remakes too, where they kind of involved the family, and one of like Leatherface might have been it.
Yeah, I think
they did that as well.
Yep. I want to say Leatherface is the one that did with Jessica Biel, and that one was fun. But the first,
yes,
just the original is just, in my opinion, the most statement movies that it could happen. You know, you can literally go down to Texas and go down some, well, kind of.
And you know, and I feel pretty fortunate that I get the Scream franchise out of the 3, because realistically, you know, you look at the Scream franchise, and the original Scream was a movie that had never been made before. It was an original horror concept movie. Which
it was something completely different.
You never,
yeah.
It's almost never seen anymore. The original concept film. There was no real. It was impossible to guess what was going on. You had no idea what was happening throughout, that first one. And I'll even make a case for 2 and 3 being still kind of on that original aspect. But then after that, the wheels kind of come off again. And it goes
to a show.
It turned into an episodic television show. It did after that.
Well, they did an episodic television show. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
They did it, and I couldn't get through the first episode. So
yeah, it just
that tells you.
And it kind of goes.
The thing that kind of killed that franchise, I think it was in like 2008 or early 2000s. These 2 kids, they killed their friends as the Scream killers. So that kind of like squashed the franchise, and it really muddied everything for a really long
they
time.
actually came back with that in, was it 3, where they used that? Yeah, they actually used that real life story in the movie.
It was super controversial, but it worked in its favor because it continued the franchise.
I think that's why these 3 franchises, great movies. I don't think there's any arguing about it. Great movies, but I think that's why they kind of come down to that mid card. They can never quite be at the top because they just don't have enough.
Well, I think part of it too is that like Ghostface is almost slightly reminiscent of other killers. I mean, you already had Michael Myers. Ghostface is almost like a manic version of Michael Myers to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that Ghostface has that same type of level.
But you have Henry Winkler holding up the mask.
Which is awesome.
There's nothing better than seeing Henry Winkler in some of these like odd movies and odd television shows that he's in now. That he's just playing so against the Henry Winkler type, One of my favorite movies with him in it is Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James.
Yes, that movie's great.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And Henry Winkler is just like so passive and so mild, man. It's like just watching him act that part out was amazing. But
for sure.
The other thing that I really liked about Scream 2. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I think where Texas Chainsaw does kind of belong in that mid card, but they're really kind of close. Was where, like I said before, it was just like the story was something that could just like happen in some rural place, and it had happened before, and it was just like it's something that really just kind of hits deep, but it doesn't kind of terrify you, like those big 3. Big horror film.
I'm checking Florida Man right now just to see if it's happening right now.
Okay. Hey, while you're at it, just check #Alabama Man and see what you can find.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think in Texas Chainsaw, the whole, it's loosely based off of Ed Gein, which we've talked about before. And just anybody that's ever read the story of Ed Gein, that in itself is one of the creepiest things I've ever read about.
Yeah. I think one thing that kind of Ed Gein, they say, was a serial killer. He technically only apparently killed 2 people, but he dug graves up and used the skin, and it was just something that I don't know. So I like serial killers as well. So I do a lot of research on stuff like that, and the people made him out to be a monster, which he was, but he was just a sick, abused guy in some random rural place and thought he could get away with something creepy like that. But
it was like the 1930s, something like that, wasn't it?
I think the
40s.
I want to say it was the 30s, 40s, or the 50s.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, it was. It's just it's an odd story. This stuff. I mean, it goes back to Psycho a little more than it does Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when it with some of the stuff that Ed really was doing, but
in 1957.
Creepy. 57. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Between 47 and 57, he had 2 murders, 7 suspected, 9 corpses mutilated.
I bet he killed all of them.
Yeah,
I really do. He probably did.
The whole thing, though, is, again, and it's that. I think that's what kind of gives the Texas Chainsaw, or that it gives that push.
Yeah,
although there's not,
but it just can't get there yet.
Right. It needs to have that one big movie that it hasn't had yet. It's had movies, but it hasn't had that one big push. It hasn't, the big star isn't there. When you look at Scream, you had Neve Campbell, you had Courtney Cox, you look at David Arquette, you look at Alien, and you have Sigourney Weaver, and we named everybody in Aliens, but look at Alien, where you had John Hurt and Yaphet Kotto, and all these. I mean, these were big names going into these movies. And when you look at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't think they've recruited that big name yet.
They never have, and I think
that's where it
kind of leaves it on that B movie level, which is kind of like, in my opinion, it's like for Scream, you have movies on the B movie level like Terrifier. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's like kind of a ripoff in a way of Scream, and it's that issue of budgeting where the budget just wasn't quite there, where they couldn't get that next little push to get that next big actor, So, yeah, sorry.
Now, hey, Brandon, what was your opinion about the newest one? Did you like it?
Oh, I thought it was really cheesy, which isn't a bad thing. I think cheesy movies are great. I think the depth that they did with Leatherface was really, really different, where he was kind of just this weird orphan kid and was helping this sick lady, and then the town's like, well, we got sold, and he just goes on this murderous rampage after his mom dies. And there's one scene that always kind of just sticks out with the newest one, where he walks onto a bus and the dude's pointing the camera at him.
The bus scene.
You better gonna get canceled, or some stupid line like that, and he just starts the chainsaw and goes to town for about a minute and a half.
Cuts the whole bus in half.
I love our listeners. I absolutely love our listeners. We've got Rodney, the girl who pulled the gun out their hoo-ha. So, I love our listeners. They nailed the best parts of these movies every time we do this. They come right in and are like, that's the part.
That's in like the first 10 minutes of the first Texas Chainsaw.
Right.
Yep.
That's why we have listeners, because it's amazing when they come up with that stuff.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the newest Texas Chainsaw. I sat and watched it. I had no expectations of it, though. So I went in with that no expectation, but then I loved it. So,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's what makes some movies great, is when you can go into a movie and you have no expectations, but when you walk out and you had, it made you laugh, or it made you think, or it made you, feel whatever. And I think the new Texas Chainsaw, I think that's where it kind of pushes that boundary of maybe being great, because it is right there. I mean, you watch it and you had no expectations for it, but when you watch it, it's not a bad movie. It's right there.
Yeah, I think the best thing that they did for this franchise was return Leatherface to his first aggressive, primal person, but also the way that they connected it was that basically saying that Leatherface wasn't really Leatherface. It was just like a weird separate cousin to Leatherface. It was just an orphan, but they connected it by connecting it using the original actress the girl who got away, the original final girl, came back as the sheriff and tried to end him and couldn't. You know, it's brutal. You know, it
gave that nostalgia, that nice nostalgia bump that they've tried to do with everything lately. So, but I enjoyed it though. So,
and again, I think that's where it's there. It has the potential, if they can back that up, if they can come with another couple of movies that kind of give that same feeling, I'd almost be willing to make the case that it's the big four at the top. Because I don't think Scream is ever going to get back, you know, past where it is now. The new one was fun, but it wasn't, you know.
I hated it.
It's so repetitive.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated the newest one.
I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was a great movie or a movie that I have to see again, but I did think it was fun.
Now I'm going to put this out there that one of the reasons that I don't like Jenna Ortega's face. I just don't like her face. Like
No
when
way.
I see her, I'm sorry, I just don't. So that's probably part of it. Like, but yeah.
I have to
anyway,
agree.
go on. Sorry, Brandon.
No, I do
guys
agree
don't
with you
count.
on that point. I just couldn't be. I tried to watch Wednesday, just couldn't do it. It was just
Couldn't do it.
Are
Not
you
at all.
kidding me?
Nope.
Neither of you?
Oh, come on.
But-
I love Wednesday. I watched the
I
whole
love
series
Wednesday.
twice.
So I think my biggest issue with, you know, that situation is it just got it gets rammed down my generation's throat, and it's like,
Right.
I don't care for that stuff. Like Stranger Things, sick, awesome, can't wait for more. But like Wednesday wasn't anything that I ever wanted or needed, and I tried to watch it, and I was like, ooh, it's just cringy to me, and I didn't like it.
See,
But
now,
yes, I agree with him for sure.
I liked it.
I have no problem with Wednesday. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I watched. The only thing I was not sold on Luis Guzman at first, but if you go back and you look at the original Addams Family cartoons, he
what they
is.
look
He
like.
is the original Gomez.
Yeah, and I love Luis Guzman too, but I was not sold on him,
That part
and
I
I'm
didn't
still
care for.
not. I'm still
Nope.
not sold on him as yeah.
I
But
can
I
only
agree.
see him as
I
an
mean, as far as
alcoholic
look
who
wise,
So what do you
I
think
think
about
I lost
the
audio.
Beetlejuice then?
I don't want to see it. No. Did you lose audio, Rob?
You guys are all very, very quiet.
How weird. Brandon, how about you? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Huh? I think it's here, but I can still hear
All
it to go on. So, I mean, when you look at those three franchises, all right, let's just go around, you know, the four of us. I think what Scream needs is to stop. I think they need to stop making movies and just kind of let what they have just kind of go for a little while. I think Alien needs something. It needs like a re-release of Aliens, like I don't know where we are now, 35th anniversary or whatever it might be, some kind of new packaging or something to push the franchise. And I think Texas Chainsaw is the one on the way up right now.
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, what do you think? Let's go with the lovely Samantha first on that one.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's all you.
I want to see Tarantino. I can't pronounce it.
Which one?
Tarantino. I want him to do
You want Quentin Tarantino to
Yes.
do which one? He was
Texas. I want him to do his take on Texas.
interesting. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
I think he'd be good.
Quentin
I think
Tarantino
Scream's done.
to do what?
Scream.
A
Texas
Scream movie?
Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
No,
Oh.
Texas Chainsaw. She wants to see
Yeah,
him do
Texas
a Texas Chainsaw.
you know, I don't know how I feel about that either.
It needs a new take on it.
It needs. Okay. All right. I will. Again, this is opinion, so no one is wrong.
Oh yeah, no.
And
I think
I'm
Scream's
just
done.
trying to think about it.
It was
Like,
done
I
after
think
the
that'd be
second
sick.
movie.
I just think it would
What
be
would he
cool.
do with it? I mean, what do you?
I don't know.
Rehash it, revamp
That's the
it.
thing. Like my mind
It's
is
so
racing.
predictable
I don't
now.
know
He
what
can make
would
it
do.
unpredictable.
Well, apparently, you know what has to happen is that um, apparently it has to either be Travolta or Sam Jackson that plays Leatherface.
Samuel Jackson is the only, no other lines other than does he look like a bitch? That's it. That's all I want. That's all I need.
You don't need him to say chainsaw, motherfucker. Nothing like that.
Nope. Or he could do Snakes on a Plane. I'd be cool with that too.
I believe
So
that
bad
you.
now.
I believe that you have my chainsaw. Well, which one is it? It's the one that says "bad motherfucking
Bad
chainsaw."
motherfucker.
I think, or Tim Roth. I think Tim Roth could be a good, Honey Bunny. I think that would be great. If Leatherface, had to go through that whole thing. That would be good.
Interesting.
He just have a good way of putting his take on things.
Well, that's true.
Has he done a horror movie yet?
Was he the one that did Hostel?
No, that's Eli.
Eli Roth.
There you go.
Okay.
Brain locked up. Yeah,
I think
that's Eli.
I think Eli Roth would make a great Texas Chainsaw for sure. I'll get more into that when it's my turn.
I'm
I like
actually
that Fable part.
I am real. Mercedes agrees with you, Samantha. Mercedes says, "Oh yeah, maybe Tarantino." That was her comment, and then Rodney Snyder said, "I'd watch that. Tarantino could do it some justice." All right. I just think
you guys are outvoted.
Really good idea. Oh,
absolutely. I think
it's all
we are outvoted. So
yeah, okay. I'll see it. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
I'll go watch it because there'll be something.
Why not?
There will be something so bizarre in it.
See, that's the point.
Right.
It'll be walking with. I've carried this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass.
I'm about a 50-50 guy when it comes to Tarantino too, so it's hard to say.
Sure.
I loved Reservoir Dogs. Loved it. One of my absolute favorite movies. Absolutely just there's so many parts of that movie that are just so bizarre that you just have to watch it. I was on Pulp Fiction, and after that he's kind of just been hit or miss,
See, I love Reservoir Dogs. I love Pulp Fiction. I love From Dusk Till Dawn. Foxy Brown, I was iffy on. And I'm one of the few people that actually just hated Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I did not like that movie.
Nope.
And so Tarantino did do a horror movie. He did Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
that's
that movie was great.
So he has the chops to do it. So
vampires, boobies.
I can't think of it when I'm put on the spot.
Now, see, I'm going to disagree with you on one thing, Rob. I think that Alien is the one that could continue to go with the right writers, and the reason I think that is because of how big that world is. It's a massive world. You could do stories about space marines. You could do stories about different planets where maybe the aliens have come to. I don't even know. I think there's so many possibilities there just because of how big that world is. Because the other ones seem very small. With Texas Chainsaw, you've got, Leatherface, and there's the family. But then, other than that, I'm not sure where else to go with it. And same thing with Scream. We've already killed off everybody that was in the originals, for the most part, in case anybody has spoilers. But
I think I see where you're going with it, but I think it's possibility that that they missed the boat on it. That's my feeling, is that they may have missed their window.
Yeah.
And
Not if it's an anniversary.
well, that's what I'm saying. Unless there's something that happens around a big anniversary with Alien, where there's like a reissue or you know.
Mercedes agrees.
Boy, nobody agrees with me. I suck tonight. I'm on the outside looking in, but that's all right. You know, I'm fine with that. I just think that
no, but I see what you're saying, though. Definitely,
there was that window when they could have jumped on it, and I don't know if maybe COVID closed that window, or I don't know. I don't have the answer to that one, but I think that Scream should be left alone. I think that we've had enough of it, and that's probably the one that we're going to get the most push on, because you have the Hollywood darlings, and as much as you want to say, you know, you don't want to see this person or that person, the Hollywood darlings run the show.
Yeah.
Well, and the last one set it up for a continuation, and I mean, no spoilers on that, I guess, if you haven't seen it yet. But I didn't like where it was going. It just seemed weak storytelling.
So,
I mean, that's Hollywood now.
Right.
Let's face it. I mean, when was the last time we saw a movie with some really good storytelling, some really good in-depth? Mercedes says, love Scream the most. I defend Scream, but it's like 1 and 2 did so well, and it feels like they're trying to do it again, and they can't. They're trying to replicate, and they're just not able to. And it just needs to be left alone for a while. But they're going to push the Hollywood darling, and they're going to use that name recognition to just keep selling tickets to a product that doesn't deserve more tickets sold.
I think it would take a really, really good story for it to do something more. I think it's just going to peter out.
Yeah, like I said, when I set up the thought for Scream, I'm looking at a movie that has never been made before, a concept that had not been pushed before. Now you've taken the concept that hasn't been pushed before, and now all you're doing is you're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And you're taking the same concept and just folding it over and folding it over. And eventually you're just going to have, you know, a small little package that is, you're going to ruin what you had.
Well, and that sort of fourth wall break that Jamie Kennedy did in the first two was really, that was something that we hadn't seen before. Like, you know, going with, okay, this is actually a horror movie that we're in right now, and there's rules to horror movies. So that's, you know, that was something that we'd never seen. And then now they've tried to redo it over and over and over again, and it's been worn out.
Yeah, nobody had the balls to do that before. And, you know, I think Brendan's, you know, the Texas Chainsaw is the one that has the most upside right now.
Oh, for sure. So, in my opinion, what these franchises need. Okay, we need James Cameron to do an Alien film. And I'm not talking like a James Cameron, like Avatar. I'm talking like he needs to get a little dark. Like if he can put in the production and the time that he puts into his films, I think it could be honestly one of the best movies or horror movies of its time. I think that could push.
We need Terminator James Cameron.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. That's what we need. Or he did Abyss, didn't he?
I think he did do Abyss, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I'm efforting. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm efforting.
Okay.
Mercedes says, and then Texas Chainsaw, like we know the story. How can we remake that better? I can't read apparently than what we've done so far, unless we had new twists. No one knew, but that pushing.
Yeah, I agree, Mercedes. You're absolutely right. If we can take Texas Chainsaw, we know the story, but if we can add a couple new twists to it, that's what I think can push it to the next level, because it is a familiar story. So the Abyss with Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Michael Biehn, was both written and directed by James Cameron.
Yeah, Abyss was a good one too.
It was a great movie, and that's a great call, Brendan. I think if you could get that James Cameron, that creator of that underwater world, James Cameron, to kind
like
of
it needs just that perfect darkness and that perfect creepy, but like that perfect Avatar twist, you know, like it would be perfect. It really would, and I think that it doesn't even matter what actors are in it. It pushes it to the next level, you know. And then as for Scream, they need to Godzilla that for sure. Like, let it go dormant for 10, 15 years. Don't even make the next one that they want to make. And then they bring it back with nobodies.
Right.
Yep.
It doesn't even like they did the MTV. No, it doesn't matter. You bring it back 10, 15 years in current day and time with people in their 18s, 19s, 20s on like a college campus, and just let them go haywire. It doesn't have to be like a Hollywood film. It needs to be. It just has to be a slasher film. That's all it needs to be. Who cares about actors and actresses? Who cares about storyline? They just need a slasher. That's all they need. 10, 15 years tops. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What it needs is the actor factor. They need to push it that extra little limit. Spend the extra money. Get a couple actors. Move it out of Texas. Move it up to a different area of Texas where you would never suspect it. Just a regular old neighborhood.
And
like Jason Takes Manhattan.
kind of like Jason Takes Manhattan, but like, but still that weird like grit, you know.
Oh, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Good old Jason X.
But no, I think you know, we're in that point where unfortunately the media darlings are not going to let that happen. So.
No.
All right.
I wish that.
What did Rodney have to say there?
Sorry.
It says, like a literal real life game, Scream 2 made you feel like Ghostface could get you anywhere. Yes, absolutely. I am going to duck out for one moment. I will be right back. You guys continue.
All right.
That's how you can bring Alien back. Make it a video game.
A video? They have tried to make Alien into a video game. It didn't work.
They didn't do what they needed to do with it, in my opinion. They're actually it'll be February 16th, 2024. They're releasing. I know that date specifically because I've been waiting for the announcement. They're releasing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, a lot like what's it called? What's that? Dead by Daylight. Where essentially one person plays Leatherface and the other people have to escape.
Yep.
And
I've tried it on a couple of occasions. I'm not good at it. Not good at all.
No, neither am I. I don't care. I'll have a couple drinks with my friends and have a good time. It doesn't matter. You know? It's just, I think what these films need, they need just go dormant for a couple of years, rewrite the story just a little bit, and make it a little bit more original, and just take your time with it. There's cases for all these franchises for sure, but I think Texas Chainsaw, all it needs is just that little oomph.
Sorry,
just a tiny little push.
Yep.
Tiny little push.
Oh,
it'll be in the top 4 for sure.
We have a senior cat, and she's blind. She's 17. She can't see anymore, and she accidentally closed the door on herself and couldn't get out of the room. And she was crying terribly. So Zoe, poor Zozo, was trapped. I had to go let her out.
I feel like the horror movies don't have any originality anymore.
Yeah,
you just keep
and that's
over and over the same way, just with more CGI.
I mean, we got to the point where we're doing like Freddy versus Jason versus Alien versus Predator. We're to the point now where we're like,
I love Freddy versus Jason.
I did too.
Yes, I do.
It's one of my favorites.
I actually liked, I actually liked Alien versus Predator. I thought that was actually a pretty good.
I did too. Yeah. The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah,
you
no.
know, but
Second one was ass.
It's again, they're going to take that media darling and just shove it down your throat.
Right.
And that has long been the death knell for horror movies. You know, what made a great horror movie was the fact that you didn't know half the people in it. You know, think about when you know, like the original, you know, Friday the 13th and Halloween and all that broke the careers for many people.
Friday the 13th was what? Kevin Bacon, Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis was nobody before Halloween.
Yeah. No, and that's I agree, because they using no names. It needs to be more when it's a horror movie. I think it needs to be more about the story and the horror than the actors that are actually in it. Yep.
I need Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from Evil Dead. I like it, Rodney.
I do too,
Yeah.
Rodney.
We
all do. We all want it.
We all okay. Kickstarter. Let's go right now. We're making this movie.
They were supposed to make it at one point in time. It was on the slate, and then I don't remember what happened, but it got canceled.
Yeah, one of the other comments that we got earlier was Tarantino was going to make the Star Trek movie. Remember that? And that never happened.
Right.
And that would have been amazing.
I'm on to something.
You know, Tarantino in space would have been amazing.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, like Uhura would have had attitude. You know, like, you know, Kirk would have turned to Uhura and said, like, you know, can you raise them? And Uhura would turn back like, motherfucker, if I could have raised them, you would have fucking known it.
Uhura would have been paid by Pam Grier.
Oh yeah, it would have been awesome. You know, she would have been a take no shit Uhura.
Right.
So a random cheesy fact that I have for Friday the 13th. Corey Feldman, believe it or not, killed Jason Voorhees, and took the mask and wore it in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. So he also was in a horror film, if you guys didn't know that.
There you go. I forgot all about that, but yes, he was.
I did too, yeah.
I mean, so I think the one thing that we're missing, you know, now is that originality that, you know, what broke Blair Witch?
Everything.
Well, I was got all of it.
But, I mean, it was the no-name actors and actresses, right?
It was Ash Hamilton's Holes in the Sky that broke it.
Broke it to pieces in you know, shattered all the records. Yes, we know. But what I'm saying is, you know, you look back at that movie, that we'd never seen anything really like that before. There was that buzz going around about it. Was it real? Oh my God, is it real? Right. Is it a real thing? Like, those real people? It was that weird buzz, and then they just beat the shit out of it for 10 years.
Yep.
They just beat it into a bloody pulp and left it on the side of the road. And it got to the point where, like, I'll be honest with you, I will say that there was a good 8 to 10 years before I watched another found footage film until Ash made Holes in the Sky and asked me to watch it. I just got to the point where found footage was just like, oh God, give me a break. You know,
I think the last good found footage film would be Cloverfield, and that's it. Yeah. I don't really think any other. It was just a genre that is just too weird.
Well, what happened was it turned into the everyman filmmaker thing.
Yeah.
And none of them were done well. And then you see where Ash has come out with, and you can see the difference. You can see how the different idea, the different story, the different everything, and that's kind of what, you know, I think that's what pushed that one over, you know, Holes in the Sky over the edge. And I'm not saying that because, you know, I'm part of the Horror Fix Network and Ash's, you know, Horror Fix. I'm not saying that because of that. I'm saying that because I generally enjoyed the movie.
Oh yeah, so did I.
It was a
I bought it on
put together movie.
Yeah.
You told me it was on that my streaming app that I have, and I bought it immediately because it's one of my favorites. I tell people all the time to watch it. It's great.
And but you see what I'm saying is you take that genre, you took, when Scream came out and it was the
Quarantine wasn't bad.
Quarantine was not bad.
No,
it
wasn't.
Good one.
I don't need to see it again
Oh.
though.
As Above, So Below, that was another really good one.
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. You might be my kid, but I'm not giving you that one.
Oh, you can get. Come on now.
No.
Damn it.
Chernobyl Diaries. I think I remember that one.
Oh my god, that movie was great.
All right, here's the problem with Chernobyl Diaries. The problem with Chernobyl Diaries is that there were so many film documentaries, real documentaries, that preceded it. So all they did was take the real film documentary and rip it off. There was nothing original.
Yeah.
No originality.
Yeah, but half of the horror movies you watch are ripoffs of other horror movies.
Of everything.
And that's the problem. That's what I'm getting at is you had, Texas Chainsaw was, albeit, the Ed Gein kind of, but it had that originality, right?
It did. Yeah.
Alien. I'm an old guy, and I remember when Alien first came out and seeing it in the movie theater, and like when John Hurt, when he laid down and the thing came out of his stomach, that I went home and I was like, I'm sleeping on my stomach tonight because no, that's not happening. It was such an original thing that. Yes, there had been movies about aliens. There had been movies about that. But then when you get the thing stuck to the face, and there was that had the originality to it. And Scream, I think that's what makes these three. I think that's what puts them right up there in that mid card or high mid card area. Like I've been saying all night, the originality for all three of them.
No, I agree. I mean, they're all classics without a doubt. And I'm going to throw this out here too. I think that Alien, I mean, not just these, but other things. I think Alien would work well as a television show as well. I think they could really do something there.
For sure.
I could see, and that's where I think where you were saying that wider world. You have that Space Marines, you have the alien, you have the fact that they could have landed on other planets. You have all of that to explore through that. I believe you're right.
Do Alien but Lost.
What's that?
Do Alien but Lost, like the television show Lost. Do
Lost,
Alien as Lost. I think that would be fantastic.
Have them crash land on a planet, and then
and
it just goes on for a little while until you finally figure out that it's right.
Listen, we just wrote the next great television show in 15 seconds on a Thursday night. All right, well, listen.
My bad.
This has been an amazing show. At the fastest hour on the internet. We've been on for an hour. And I don't know if we really got anywhere.
No, not even a little
I'm not sure if we didn't decide anything. That's for sure.
We don't. Well, we don't. I think that's what's best about this is we don't need to. We can. We can appreciate them all.
I think we all decide on one thing.
What's that?
Scream needs to just be squashed for a little bit.
Yes.
Scream needs to
for the love of God.
That one needs to die for a while.
It's I don't know. 8 goals to 0, halftime, just quit.
Yeah, it's a mercy rule.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Again, the fastest hour on the internet. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the great comments. I mean, those are some of the best comments we've had in a while coming in from listeners, and that's awesome. We really appreciate that. This show, let's just all take a minute and be thankful that our friends out in Illinois are okay. You guys take it easy, be careful. Don't get yourselves caught up in anything out there like that. If they tell you to get down, get down. All right.
Will do.
All right. So from Rochester, New York, from out near Springfield, Illinois. This has been.
See you guys later.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I'm kind of upset that we ran through the hour, but
I mean,
all
we
right.
could always do more franchises eventually.
We'll catch up with you guys in 2 weeks.
Have a good one.